So I'd like to talk to you about the royal jelly of higher education. And royal jelly is what honeybees use to make queens. There is a royal jelly of higher education, and it is evident in UC. And it is the environment of knowledge creation that our students, our faculty, our staff are just infused with here. It is the home of 61 Nobel laureates. About 10% are here at this campus. 10 Pulitzer Prize winners, 10% at this campus. UC receives about 10% of all the federal funding for research. And the world is only beginning to grasp the impact and implications of the revolutionary gene editing therapy that was developed by one of our professors, CRISPR-Cas9. This royal jelly makes a difference in public and personal ways. And I want to just talk about a couple of them. UC students from all quintiles succeed in achieving incomes that surpass their parents, with over 90% of the lowest income students and 50 to 70% of middle income students doing so, surpassing their parents. But let me go forward. This really stands out for me. The rate at which UC alumni move from the bottom 20% of income to the top 20% of income exceeds that of any other university. Students who come from the bottom 20% of income go on to earn as much as students who come from a middle income families. And their earnings double in 10 years after graduation. It makes a difference to graduate from these institutions. The global excellence of UC is the most accessible and the most affordable of any of the top universities in the world. UC enrolls about 273,000 students across its 10 campuses. 41% of its undergraduates come from low-income families. 42% are first gen. By the way, back to the 41%, our AAU, our American Association of Universities, their Pell Grant graduates enrollees are about 22%, and we're at 41%. 81, and they not only get into UC, but they get out. 81% of our students graduate within 6 years. That is a significantly higher rate than the national 6-year graduation rate for all students, which is roughly about 60%. But for those who have first-gen students, their graduation rates go between 11% and 50%, and ours are 81%. So this royal jelly works. But the royal jelly is not as royal as it used to be. UC educates about 90,000 more students than it did in 2000. And its funding rate has not increased beyond what it was then. In 1975, Pell Grants covered about 79% of the cost of higher education. Today, 29%. And retention rates are beginning to tick down. And that bodes ill for graduation rates. So, the royal jelly needs help. What can you do? Now I'm talking to a lot of researchers in here. Well, it's been said, to whom much is given, much is required. And these days we have to prove ourselves again of value to the state. and we need to address some of the aching problems that trouble our state legislature. What are those? Among them are the persistent educational attainment gaps and educational performance gaps. What can we do on a statewide basis and achieve some kind of coherence and agreement to attack those problems? What can we do to better diversify our institution? Most of our legislators, our regents today, look at our institution and do not see it reflecting either the present or the future of the state. What can we do about that? Without complaining about the pipeline, can we develop more pathways into, for example, the professoriate? And one of the other problems that you hear them talking an awful lot about, and actually some of our UC institutions actually cause, ironically, and that is affordable housing. Usually around our campuses, it is very expensive to live. A lot of development happens around our campuses. Well, what novel solutions do we have to that problem? I don't know, but I wanted to put these problems before you. I'm done. Thank you.